All right, in 3, 2, 1.
This is the podcast.
Are you telling me that you built a time machine out of a podcast?
I have come here to chew bubblegum and
podcast.
And I'm all out of bubblegum.
Hey everyone, welcome to Get to the Podcast. That's Get to the Podcast with the number 2. My name is Diego D'Souza.
I'm Nick Gambino.
And I'm Neil Carson.
And I'm shooting people in space because I'm awesome. And
You had nothing for this. You
I
had
really
nothing.
did not. I didn't know.
He's trying to set up a
That's my
Star
gun
Wars
sound.
thing, and I fell flat.
You gotta do
Here
that.
you go.
You gotta do a TIE fighter
Just
noise.
quote-
Hey,
Just
do me a
TIE
favor.
fighter.
I got it. Do the Indiana Jones soundtrack.
Luke,
get out of my ship, Luke. Get out of my fucking ship, Luke.
All right.
Wow.
He doesn't curse.
He
man.
never curses.
He actually is a smuggler who murders people for a living.
He's
but
a
he's
pirate
never
in a
curses.
way.
I guess
Not
cursing
pirate,
doesn't
smuggler.
exist in the past.
It does now.
Well, it is the past, yeah.
It is the past.
Also, books don't exist, really.
there are no books.
Except
there
for
were
in the
books
newest one.
in the newest one.
Okay,
yeah,
how
that's the
far
only
back
time.
are we going? Because I can say rocks
A
didn't
long time
exist.
ago, man. The galaxy far, far
Theoretically.
away.
No. There's the whole thing. Books didn't exist
You know
in the
what
Star
needs
Wars
to
universe.
happen? Well, let's talk about what we're talking about.
Okay, good. So today, this is what we were looking at. We were like, all right, we're going to do a versus episode, Han Solo versus Indiana Jones. And what happened was we were all, for the first time ever, on the same page. We think Indiana Jones is better.
Feels weird.
And I was like, dude. And then Diego's like, I could just lie and say that I like Han Solo better. I'm like, that is so inorganic, and that violates the trust between us and our audience. So we will not do that.
Really? I was
I'm
just
throwing you under a
lying.
bus.
Wow.
I said
I'm
I can bring
throwing you
up
under an Imperial
reasons why
Destroyer.
Han Solo is better.
Yeah,
This guy's
point,
really saying
counterpoint.
I'm a
He was just-
liar.
he wasn't going to lie. He was just
Yeah.
going to be bringing
Indiana
up
Jones would
counterpoints.
never shoot
I
first.
can bring up counterpoints.
Wait a minute, he did. He shot a guy with just a sword.
This guy.
So they're kind of both pieces of shit. Like Indiana
Go back
Jones
to
shot
the
the
lie
guy.
thing.
They'll straight
Hold on a
murder
second.
people in cold
I
blood.
said that I can give credibility to Han Solo, and I can stay on that side of it. Fucking dude saying,
Throw
motherfucker.
you under the bus, man.
Wait till we get
Imperial
at the.
Destroyer.
You just wait
Throw
till
you
we get
under
to the
the
playground.
AT.
That's what's going down.
Wait, what is
What is
it?
that thing? The big walking thing?
Yeah. It's
What
like
is
an
it called?
AT-AT or something, right? AT-AT.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Next time I
Not
see you on.
AT&T.
Guess what?
AT&T.
Guess what, Neil? Next time I see him on the slide at the
That might be
playground, I'm
completely
gonna trip
wrong.
his ass.
Wow. Slide in the playground.
Wait,
Okay.
you guys go to the playground without me?
I do. I mean, I have a daughter.
That's true.
Okay, all right, straight up.
yeah,
So
let's
we're
go.
doing who's better. All right, we're not doing a versus. We're gonna have a discussion here.
Okay.
Who's better?
Thank God.
Han
I didn't get
Solo-
that right. AT-AT. Okay.
Okay, good.
I swear, somebody's going to come up to me like, dude, how do you not know what an ATXD is? And I'm like, oh,
Dude,
man.
I have all these magnets, Star Wars magnets on my fridge, and my 2-year-old daughter, Frankie, she was like asking me what each of them were. I was teaching her the names, Luke and Obi-Wan, Chewie,
Yeah.
and then there was the Jawa, and I couldn't fucking remember what it was.
Ooh-tee-tee.
So I just said, she goes, and this? And I go, Wootiti. And she's like, Wootiti. I couldn't remember what it was. I was like, Jesus, it'd probably be way easier to teach her Jawa once I remembered.
Yeah.
But, okay.
Oh, so wait, it just stands for all-terrain armored transport. That's
Okay,
it.
good. Those are the big thing. That's the big thing that Luke tied the cable around and
Yeah,
tripped
yeah,
it up.
and
Yeah.
Empire. Yeah.
Empire Strikes Back, exactly. And they brought him back for. Wasn't that in The Last Jedi? Didn't they have those, or it was in something?
Oh,
was it
Empire
yeah.
Strike? Was it Empire
Yeah,
Strike? It was the
It's
second
in
one.
all of them, man. It was
It was
in,
in Empire. It wasn't in the first
it
one.
was
though.
in Rogue One.
Rogue One. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, they've been in
Yeah.
a bunch. Anyway, so this episode we're not doing a versus, but we're doing who's better, Han Solo or Indiana Jones. Now, spoiler alert, we're saying Indiana Jones, but this is what we need to figure out. We need to talk about why is he better? Because, I think once we get into a discussion about it, you're going to see negatives on Indiana Jones' side, and you're going to see positives on Han Solo's side. So let's just get into it.
It is interesting. I was going to say earlier, though, now that everyone knows what we're talking about, you know what they should do? They should do like a crossover where Indiana Jones is excavating and then he finds like the Millennium Falcon on Earth.
He should have.
It's
That
like
would-
turned into stone because it's been so long.
The internet nerds would rip that apart.
Indiana
That's
Jones.
what George Lucas and
I
Spielberg
want
are
it
gonna do
so
next.
bad. Oh my
Indiana
gosh.
Jones and the Star Wars connection.
Yeah.
That's what it's going to be called.
Anyway, so but why do I've heard this thing before where people are like, well, even Harrison Ford says it. He's not a big fan of Han Solo. he likes Indiana Jones, but for some reason he's like Han Solo is just like a whatever character to him. He doesn't feel like he's very fleshed out.
It is a weird thing because Han
very
Solo came
two-dimensional.
first. I mean, if you look at the characters, 77 and then Indiana Jones came out in 81. So
Raiders.
From my childhood, I saw Raiders of the Lost Ark first before I saw any Star Wars film. So I associated Harrison Ford with, Indiana Jones, and then I saw like Empire Strikes Back. I saw them all out of order.
Did you really?
I actually preferred Empire and Return. I saw both of those before I saw Star Wars, and I was like, man, Star Wars sucks. And then I was like,
there's a
Empire's the
possibility
best.
I saw Return of the Jedi first, but I definitely saw the Star Wars movies before I saw Raiders or any of the Indiana Jones. I mean, shortly, within a short time period, like I saw those, and then I saw the Indiana Jones films. But I knew Harrison Ford from other things at that point.
When I watched the character, I was like, especially in the later films and like Empire and Return of the Jedi, he has a lot more humor, and the dynamic between him and Princess Leia or Carrie Fisher, like that whole dynamic is humorous and endearing. So and it kind of like made me think of Indiana Jones. Like I could see, you know what I mean? So it's like
the thing. Well, okay, let's talk about
it's weird.
So
they're two
Harrison
iconic
Ford,
characters,
they're two iconic characters, and Harrison Ford, I love him. And he's a good actor, but he's also he's not a guy who has a large range. He doesn't do a lot of range.
He does.
No. Okay, first off, shut your fucking mouth.
Second off, he does.
No, think about it. Has he
Did
ever
you
done
ever
an
see
accent?
regarding Henry?
Yeah. And Fugitive, he's a great actor. I'm saying he doesn't do a lot of he doesn't go way outside his wheelhouse. Never even done an accent that I can remember. You remember him doing an accent ever?
Hunt for the Red October, right? Wasn't he?
He wasn't in that.
He wasn't
that was
the
Alec
sub
Baldwin.
movie, but it was
Which one am I thinking
Patriot
of?
Games?
No, what's the sub one? Where he's like,
No, I don't.
he was in a movie where it was like
you
a
talking
Russian
about
That
He
really
was
does
Russian.
sound familiar.
Yeah.
It's not Hunt for Red October, but it does sound familiar.
Are you
Did he do an
sure?
accent in that?
Are you sure? That
No,
was Alec Baldwin.
100% he
right.
wasn't in
God damn it.
Hunt for Red October. Yeah, he wasn't. He was Jack Ryan in Patriot Games and Clear and Present Danger. But what I'm trying to say is I love Harrison Ford, and I think he's a great actor. If you watch The Fugitive, he's fantastic in that.
K-19 Widowmaker.
Yeah,
That's right. That's
he had
what it
a
is.
very thick accent.
What
he had a
accent
Russian
did he do?
accent.
Did you do a Russian
Russian
accent in that one?
yeah.
Okay, all right. Then
I remember watching it like, this is weird.
I'm wrong. When I was saying it, I started thinking, I feel like he's done an accent once or twice. But the point is, he doesn't really go outside of this kind of pocket that he's
what do you
in
want to do?
as a
He's
character.
created
No,
like
but
a
he's a
niche.
great actor. No, my point being is, I don't remember what my fucking point is, but I'm saying he doesn't really go far outside that. So Han Solo and Indiana Jones
are very similar.
That's what I'm trying to get. That is what I'm trying to get. Han Solo and Indiana Jones are similar, but they are different characters. But they're not acted dramatically different where you could be like, hey, this guy is
Well, you
this
realize
way,
they
this
were
guy's
created
that
by
way.
the same guy, right?
Yeah. Yeah, George Lucas.
It makes sense that they would be very similar. I mean,
Yeah, I mean,
and they both have sidekicks.
Okay.
They're both very loose with their women. You know what I'm
right,
saying? They
that's
like
right.
kind of take and
But now,
whatever.
difference is,
yeah.
one of them is a professor. Indiana Jones isn't just this,
He's a tenured
whip
professor.
wielding. Yeah, he's a tenured professor.
Did you know his name is actually Henry Walton?
Yeah, he's named
Henry
after his father.
Walton,
He's
yeah.
Junior.
Jones?
He's Junior.
Junior?
Wait, let him.
And he has
I
a
want him
sister.
to
Okay, all right.
finish his
Sorry,
theory
sorry.
on why
Sorry, the
he's not a
ADD.
ranged actor with his falseness. Go ahead.
Okay, what I'm trying to say is those characters, when you look at them on the surface, like the way in which they're portrayed, they're
Yeah.
not dramatically different where you feel like, wow, these are nuanced characters that are so different. Now, the things they do are different, right? Like Indiana Jones, okay, he's a professor and he's, an archaeologist and the activity is completely different. Han Solo is a smuggler and he's a little bit more of a dick. He's a little bit more dickish
Are you
than
asking
Indiana
Han
Jones is.
Solo to pull out a whip?
He's
No, I'm just
he's a
saying
little
they're
more-
not-
He's
they're
a little
not-
selfish, but I
Can
don't know.
Can you
man.
see like Han Solo pulls out a whip to try to kill someone and they just shoot him?
No.
Like, it's just like
Well, Han Solo is like a smuggler. Like he's not
Yeah,
really.
it's-
He gets into shady situations because of his the industry that he's in or the business that he's in. But it's not like he goes out of his way looking for.
Yeah, he's
I
he's
get what you're
selfish.
saying.
You know what
Yeah,
I mean?
I'm just saying,
he's-
like, I
you
think
put
it was
it-
written
Well,
into
Indiana
the character.
Jones is kind of.
if you no, but
Not
if
really.
you take
Watch Raiders of the Lost Ark.
He did leave Marion because he was afraid he had got cold feet about getting married, and he did ditch her. So that is a Han Solo-ish thing.
We'll watch Raiders of the Lost Ark again. Like he's going into this situation because he selfishly wants to be the guy that discovers like the Ark of the Covenant, and
that's what I'm saying.
Like, he's
And
willing
if you
to
look
do
at women,
anything.
That's right. And I'm also saying he also ditched Marion, because he got cold feet or whatever. So I'm saying yes, you're right. That he does have that selfish quality, which I'm saying is very similar to Han Solo.
Yeah.
So I'm just
I
saying
understand what you're saying.
They're not played dramatically different, and some of the same characteristics are kind of strewn throughout them. Now, I do enjoy Indiana Jones more. And I'll be honest, I like the Indiana Jones movies more than I like the Star Wars movies.
So is it?
And that's actually what it comes down to for me.
So is it the fact that it's just that
I like Raiders more than I like Star Wars.
Is it the
I also
atmosphere?
like the Indiana Jones films more
Because
than
here's the
Star Wars,
thing:
but
it's like I think if
That's
you
not saying
take
I don't like Star
if you
Wars.
take
Right.
Han Solo and you put him in an Indiana Jones movie and you put the outfit on him, I get it. It literally, I would think that that's Indiana Jones
Or similar, yeah.
Yeah, I get that.
That's what I'm saying. There's like that range isn't really there where he's like you take somebody like Daniel Day-Lewis, he'll get lost in each of those characters, and there's no way you would be able to go, oh, they're very similar.
But that doesn't mean he
I
doesn't
would
have
love to
range.
see
It's just that
Daniel
basically,
Day-Lewis
Daniel
play Han Solo or Indiana Jones.
I
That'd be
would
amazing.
love that too.
It'd be a completely different character.
Yeah, I'd love him to do a series of short films where once a month he plays an iconic character for like a 5 to 10 minute short.
That would be
and puts his own
hilarious.
spin on it and his own take and does the method acting thing to get into the role. So like when he does it, you're like, holy shit.
Did you guys ever watch that?
Dude, we had like ideas flowing like crazy around here.
Who was the actor who was originally going to play Magnum PI? What's his name?
Tom Selleck.
Tom
Yeah, he's
Selleck.
gonna be
Yeah,
in
can you
Indiana Jones.
imagine?
Yeah.
I mean, could just like
you seen his
imagine
screen
Tom
test?
Selleck and I've seen him. Yeah, they're on the Raiders of the Lost Ark DVD
Yeah,
like
and, he's,
special
and he's
edition.
got the coat on and the
It was
hat.
even going to be a different Marion Ravenwood. Yeah, it's
Was it
like
gonna be-
it was a different actress.
Yeah.
I forget what her name was.
I'm trying to remember.
But yeah, it's like if you think about him playing that character and the way we kind of associate Harrison Ford like with that character, like every film I've seen after Indiana Jones, I kind of see Harrison Ford in all of these games, or not the games, these films.
Yeah.
As like Indiana Jones,
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
Han Solo,
Right.
Like I just in my mind I constantly associate him with those characters, even though he's playing a completely different
Right.
character in a different universe. It's like
And that is a little bit of what I mean by the range. And that again, that is not taken away from Harrison Ford. I'm not saying this as a negative thing. I'm saying that's his wheelhouse. Like he doesn't play these characters dramatically different, whereas a Daniel Day-Lewis does. I'm just
does,
giving that
yeah.
as an example.
Well, like
I would
Johnny,
love to
I
see-
feel like Johnny Depp does
Johnny
on a
Depp,
lot of his
yeah.
films.
Yeah.
What are we gonna have?
There's a lot of actors.
Yeah, there's a lot of actors. They just have this thing where they can go
you see?
deeper, and
Yeah.
you would never mix them up. You would never be like, oh, this is. But Harrison Ford plays Harrison Ford type characters.
How about Arnold Schwarzenegger?
Yeah, very similar too.
Luke, run, Luke.
There's only been a handful of
Use the
films I feel
Force.
like where Arnold
Use
was
the
different
Force, Luke.
from like the same person, you know.
Yeah.
That same he's a different character with a different name and a different world, a different clothes,
Right.
a different hairdo, and different problems, but he's still Arnold.
Yes, exactly.
There's only been a handful of films where I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, that's like a completely different Arnold than I've
But he
seen
has
in
a
everything.
Yeah.
bigger range than I think Harrison Ford does because he's done a lot of
No,
he's
I
done
wouldn't
a
say
lot.
that.
Yeah,
No.
he's done a lot of comedy. He's done a lot of
Harrison
different.
Ford's
Harrison
Yeah.
Ford's done
Comedy?
different genres and different movies completely.
He's
That wasn't
very
the point. I'm
humorous.
talking about his
Yeah.
performance.
Yeah.
And Arnold's is very much of a similar performance, and he gets in different situations, and so does Harrison Ford. He's played a fugitive, he's played a smuggler, he's played an archaeologist, he's played a guy with amnesia. He's got, you know what I mean? So he's played data analyst.
Data analyst.
Yeah, so I'm saying he's done different things. That's not the point I'm making. I'm just saying his range doesn't really stretch outside of this kind of this thing where you go, yep, that's Harrison Ford. He has never done something where I'm like, holy shit, I could never identify that character with any other role he's ever done. He doesn't transform. You know, he plays to his strengths, which is smart, and it's worked well for him.
there's not- yeah.
And, like
That's-
when I watch Blade Runner, to me,
Deckard,
he's
yeah.
a completely
That-
different
by the way,
character.
that's a whole
than-
other
than-
iconic character we need.
Yeah, I'm like he like owns that character, and it's
Yep.
completely different from Indiana Jones or
Yeah.
Han Solo or a lot of the other characters
right.
that he
But it's
plays.
subtle.
When
It's
I
a
watch
subtle-
that film, I never think Han Solo. I never think Indiana Jones, even though it's it's the same.
because he's
guy.
not arrogant. There's no arrogance to him. He's not kind of like this.
I don't know if that was Ridley Scott directing him or he like took on the
It's the
character
tone of
and
the movie,
created
too.
that. Yeah, and it
Yeah.
just has this very like somber,
Yeah.
like apathetic tone throughout the whole film, and he
And-
like
and-
really plays it well.
He does it great. But again, it's but it's a subtlety. You know what
So
I mean?
who
He
would
doesn't
win in
really
a
go
fight,
outside.
Han Solo or Indiana Jones?
Well, I mean that's just not even fair. In a
How is
fist
it not
fight,
fair?
in a fist fight,
Yeah, I'm not saying one has a gun, the other one.
I don't think
doesn't.
either one wins.
Why?
Because again, they're very similar in that way. Like I just feel like they're both scrappers. Like
So they both go to
they
punch
can
in the
just
face. And
they
hit
can
the-
both throw punches. They throw punches the same way, you know. But if you were to put them in a gunfight, I mean, I guess it's just whoever gets hit first. You know, one has
well,
a blaster
obviously,
and one has a regular revolver or whatever. But going back to it for a second, so Han Solo. Let's look at some of the things he's done. Like who shot first, him or Greedo? Right? He shot first. Honestly, he did. Later on, Lucas changed it up, but he's not a good. People always debated that. I'm like, who gives a shit We already know he's a piece of shit. He's a smuggler. He's absolutely kills people.
Yeah, but I mean, these are fans. Fans like Star Wars and Star Trek fans as two separate groups are like very unique in their fandom.
Protective and
compared to like I've run into people that love Lord of the Rings, but they're not I won't say crazy, but they're not like extreme like Star Wars and Star Trek fans. Like they go over
crazy.
Every tiny little detail.
What are you trying to
and
say?
then they'll turn these nothing things
theories
into...
What are you trying to say, Neil?
Yeah.
Wait, what?
Oh,
I'm a Star Trek fan. I'm more of a Star Trek fan than I am Star
very
Wars.
much
That's
Really?
Star Trek.
I'm not even close.
Not
Star Trek.
with the new films.
Okay. Yeah. No,
I'm not a huge fan of these new.
Have you seen the new
Trek
series?
Okay.
I'm an old school Trekkie. I'm like
All right, watch the new ones.
all right.
Next
Check it out.
Generation. I watched the new ones. I saw them in
The
theaters.
series.
No, this show. This
Oh, I haven't watched Discovery. Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
A little off topic. Also, I'm not a big Trekkie, so I don't give a shit about that topic. All right, so let's get back to. So he shot first,
Such
right?
Actually, I'm more of a Babylon 5.
God, I was
Such
not
for
a
who?
Babylon
Not
5
for me.
fan.
Just
You
for
need to
you.
get back into
Nah, I'm
it.
good.
Shit's legit.
No. All right, back
It's
up.
one of the best shows ever.
But so
on
my
television.
point being,
Just
Han
saying.
Solo shot first with Greedo, right? Kind of showing that. But does that make him a piece of shit? No, because Greedo had a gun on him. It's self-defense. If somebody has a gun on you and you get a shot off first, that is not wrong.
So if you have a gun holstered on your belt
Yeah.
and I have a gun out unholstered and I shoot you in
it's
the belly,
aggressive.
am I not a bad guy?
Wait, Greedo didn't have his gun holstered. What do you mean? He had it on Han. That was the whole point. He stopped him with a gun in his belly,
But I was
made him
just-
sit down, and while he was sitting down, he slowly took his gun, his blaster, out of his fucking holster, and then put it under the table and
Yeah.
shot him. So
Self-defense.
that's an aggressive move. Somebody comes up, sticks a fucking gun in your belly.
Yeah, it's self-defense
And you get a
then.
shot off first. It's
Yeah.
self-defense. I don't even know why anybody, like, who gives a shit? Like, that is not a moral question at that point. That's self-defense. It's as simple as that. Somebody
Why
has a
are
knife
we
on you.
here?
There's something about the Star Wars universe that's light.
Mm-hmm.
And it's always been light, especially the original 3 films, and then
There's no
somehow they
blood,
got very
really.
dark, and that
Yeah,
last
I know.
Revenge of the Sith
It does.
film got extremely dark.
Even though the newest film is actually kind of darker than a lot of those other ones. I mean,
Yeah,
Empire's dark, but there's some sort of, I don't know.
It's like if they want to appeal to a younger audience
Yeah.
and bring in that young money.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
Young money.
Well,
Young
that's-
money.
This
All
is
right.
Hollywood, guys. Like,
Right,
come
but-
on, this is not,
But my point in bringing up the Greedo thing is let's look at another situation, right? Okay, so that's Han Solo. That's self-defense. That is not really a problem. Again, I don't think he would, if somebody was being
All right, so
threatening
then
toward-
Indiana Jones
Indiana
had
Jones,
the
the guy
guys
is
with the
wielding the sword.
Yeah.
So he's already had this big fight with all these different guys. This guy's wielding this big sword, this huge guy. He knows he's not going to be able to fight him. What does he do? Just takes out his gun and shoots him dead.
But there's a higher level of accepted humor in
Yeah.
that film, even though at the time it was really funny.
Yeah.
And as a kid, it's
and the
hilarious.
scene was improvised, by the way. Did
It
you
was
know that?
improvised.
Yeah,
It
was on
wasn't
the
even
spot.
part
It
of the
was-
script. They had this whole complicated choreographed
Yep.
fight sequence they were supposed to do, and Harrison Ford was like, "I'm tired and I'm an old man," because that's how Harrison Ford is in real life. He's just like lazy. But
He was like 40 when he did that film. That was 81.
yeah, his career started when he was in his 30s.
Yeah.
I think. I
Yeah.
think he was like
He
30.
was in his
like
30s when he
first
played
film.
Han Solo, yeah, in 77.
Yeah.
Oh, well, yeah, earlier than that.
Or maybe it was in his late 20s or something. He was the oldest of the 3 of like him, Luke, and Leia.
Yeah.
He was the oldest
He was good,
person,
almost
yeah.
15 years on Carrie or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, so then he shoots this guy dead. Okay, here he is. He's a professor.
The guy was coming at him. It's the same situation. A guy had a sword. He was literally going to kill this guy.
All right, the guy was
gonna kill him.
standing there wielding a sword. He did some little like
He had been
flashy,
being
showy
chased
thing.
the whole time. He had all these like guys that were
Yeah.
working for this syndicate, and they were trying to kill him and take his girl.
True.
So it was totally
So it's
justified.
similar,
It
right?
was
That guy
justified.
was like Greedo. The difference is that guy there was a good like 50 feet between him and this guy. The guy had a sword. Could he have run away? But like, I guess that was not a good idea.
You just can't-
He's not going to fight him.
You can't like
Yeah.
in these kind of films, you can't take up like the morality of killing a character it's only there to just for like a humorous
Right.
thing or whatever.
But
Even
it's important because it speaks to the character of that character. Like you have to talk
Well,
about
that's
that for
why
a
so
second.
many people probably like overanalyze the whole
Yeah.
Greedo thing. But Lucas made it horrible when he re-edited the film like 12 times
Right.
and re-edited that scene to make
Yeah.
it seem like he shot first and then
Right. Okay,
So-
so I would say, okay, you're right. That scene is very similar to Greedo's. Like there is a threat The guy's sitting there going, "Hey, I'm gonna kill you."
He had a huge
That's right, and he had no
what
other.
are those swords called?
Not a machete. It was one of those Alibaba swords.
Yeah, it was like
Yeah.
I got an Alibaba sword.
Yeah, he was just
Right?
like
Yeah.
he was like flipping that thing around. He was coming at him, and he already been he had been being chased that entire like
and
5 minutes prior.
And the guy obviously had a sword out, and he didn't have a sword to have a sword
and he was
fight
exhausted.
with him.
He was very tired.
All he had was his whip and his gun. He obviously wasn't that guy. Wasn't looking for a fist fight. He was looking for a weapon fight.
Well,
And
what's
only
the
two
question?
weapons
What
he
are we
had-
asking here?
I want to know who's better. Because we're talking about
like
Han
who's
Solo and Indiana
morally
Jones.
more?
Well, I want to break down. I want
Let's try to be more simplistic because this shit got technical.
No.
I literally.
Well,
I was ready to watch Netflix.
Yeah, well, why is that? Because you got a low vocabulary. You don't understand these
What
words.
does that have to
All
do
right,
with
so listen,
vocabulary?
You're not paying attention,
it was
man.
too deep.
I see him
Let's
over there
try-
on his goddamn tablet, not even paying attention to the
Because
conversation.
here's the thing: is
My point is, I'm trying to
we
break
are
down the difference
doing
in
what
these characters.
I
I'm trying to talk
understand.
about the
I
difference in
understand
these
it,
characters.
but
Why are
we
you
are
still talking?
doing what your guys are arguing about.
Yeah.
That like fanatic fans are doing.
No, we're
it's just
talking-
becoming very. It's really we got to.
Oh, so it's simple? Cool. Then the podcast is
Well,
over.
it's-
Indiana Jones is
no,
better.
it's just
I'm
gotta
trying
be
to
a
break
little
down
bit-
details of this fucking thing. I'm
Yeah.
trying to talk about, okay, let's compare the two characters in different situations. Who's better? We have to talk about the characters. We got to talk about the situations they got into.
I get that.
We have to
I totally
compare
get that.
similar situations. How did they deal with it? And what we're saying right now is that
Well,
situation with the
Why are you
Alibaba
taking your
sword
coat
guy-
off? What's up, bro?
Yeah.
No.
Rolling up my
I
sleeves,
think
too.
I think a lot of it comes down to like how the characters are fleshed out. And to be honest with you, I don't really feel like Han Solo, or even though Indiana Jones is 4 films and Han Solo's in
4 films.
4 films
yeah.
as a character, I feel like neither of them are completely fleshed out. I mean, Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade kind of fleshes out some of,
With his father.
of the character's past, and the whole film, his father's there, and
Yeah.
his father's like, Henry, and he's like Henry, he's like Junior, he brings all of that element where nobody had
Yeah.
like connected.
Well, Marion Ravenwood is kind of like also speaks to his.
a little bit,
Yeah,
but
'cause you
and
never
I
get-
will say that there is like the whole young Indiana Jones Chronicles, which shows him as a younger guy and talks more about his family and his parents and his like he has a sister and he has Indiana Jones ultimately ends up having a daughter
Right.
that's in like. So I guess in the books, but if we were taking just the films with
Right.
like Harrison Ford,
Yeah, we're just
the
talking
actor,
movies.
Correct,
We're not
yeah.
getting into all that other
That's-
shit.
I don't think they're really all that. I mean, they're interesting enough characters for the situation that they're in, the time period they're in, and the environment that they're around, and it makes it for the audience like a very entertaining kind of like
Right.
light character. I can watch Raiders of the Lost Ark over and over again, not because the character connects
Yeah.
significantly with me on some level, because it's like it's fun, it's light,
Yeah.
it's
And that's
not
my
too
whole
heavy.
thing.
And same
That's
thing
the
with
whole
Star Wars. I feel like Star Wars is
Both
fun and
characters are
light
that
and not
way.
too heavy.
Both characters are not as deep as these super Star Wars watchers, whatever you want to call them.
Yeah, it's like you have fans that want to turn these
and
films
this is why
into
I want to
heavier
simplify.
films than they
This is why I
actually
want
are.
to simplify it, because it's
But
not.
I do
They
wa-
are. Hold on a second.
No.
They're entertaining. They're fun, adventurous characters.
Yeah.
and this is why we love them.
It's like the action
They're
adventure genre,
There's
yeah.
deep things about the characters, but between each other, there's really not that much.
I want to
depth
say that
of
Han
difference.
Solo in Force Awakens got more. There was more depth to his character in Force Awakens than there was in any other one. He was older at this point. He had a son who had turned to the dark side. He
There's
left
something
his
about-
wife. There's a lot more that's gone on between Return of the Jedi and Force Awakens for that character, and you do feel it.
He was
they
a
don't- they
different
don't
character.
linger.
That
They
was the
don't-
whole thing. He was a father at that point.
Yeah. I mean,
he
it's a little
wasn't
bit
a
different.
smuggler. Yeah, he
Well,
wasn't a
same thing.
smuggler. He was a dad.
There's a
He's
couple
both.
scenes and even in the Kingdom of Crystal Skull where like there's like this like scene that I always felt was like an awkward scene with Shia LaBeouf when they're in like South America and they're looking for John Hurt's character.
Yeah.
And they go into like the insane asylum and there's all those numbers written and he just like starts crying because he's like his professor who was like a father
figure, yeah.
like went crazy, and I'm like, I feel like you guys didn't build this up, so because I don't understand. Like at first when I watched it, I was like, "What the fuck is this? What's up with this guy?" It's just like all these tears are coming out of nowhere. And then after repeated watchings, I was like, "Oh, okay, I see." There was like this subtle little quick thing that they tossed in there,
Right.
But it was trying to create this emotion that was like, the audience wasn't gonna feel. You know
it's
what
funny.
I mean?
I actually appreciated that scene because I think every one of those movies, maybe minus Temple of Doom, did kind of build. You're saying it's not as fleshed out. I think Indiana Jones is more fleshed out than Han Solo. The first film, you have the whole Marion Ravenwood, which is a history there, and you kind of feel more to that whole thing. Whereas Han Solo in the first film, Star Wars film, kind of just appears, does his thing. He's arrogant. He's an asshole.
But then he comes back.
Yeah, he comes back at the end. But
Yahoo!
Yeah, exactly. But Indiana Jones, that whole thing, like you get the history between that and her father and everything. Like there's more weight to that one. Temple of Doom, not so much. Last Crusade is, like you said, it's this whole father situation. You get a kind of a flashback to when he was a kid. Even later on, when his dad gets shot, and he needs to get the Holy Grail to save his life, like that whole thing's emotional.
Even in Temple of Doom, when he's, what's his name? Short Round.
Oh, Short Round.
Short Round. He's like pimp slapping Short Round or whatever. Yeah. And as a kid watching that, I was like, this is fucked up, man. Yeah. And he's like, Short Round's like his bro, and this guy is just like whooping on him because he's like possessed by the blood of whatever the shit. but I was like, that was like an impactful scene for me, like emotionally, I guess, as emotional as you can get in that film.
That's what I'm saying. Yes, they may not be the deepest characters that have ever been committed to film, but I do feel like Indiana Jones went a little deeper than Han Solo. Han Solo is the I know guy. You know what I mean? Like in response to "I love you," and that's just always who he is. He never goes
that's Harrison
deep.
Ford in real life.
But see, that's the thing.
Right? It does feel
this
like
was
that.
like my first when we started talking about this. Is that to me, Han Solo? He's not the center of the film.
It's part of an ensemble cast.
But Indiana Jones, he is the center of the film. So this is why it's awkward for me. This is why I think part of why we're all on the same side is because it's not a fight.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's
but they're
really not a fight.
they're. I don't know. I see what you're saying, but they both are interesting characters.
They are.
Han Solo has a huge role to play.
He does.
In the Star Wars.
Take Han Solo out of the Star Wars
story.
films. What are those films like?
We'll find out soon.
They're missing a massive character because, to be honest,
we'll find out soon. Yeah,
when you watch the original trilogy, like he was the only actor really to kind of blow up after those films. I mean,
outside. I mean, they all had their individual, but Harrison Ford's like the A-list guy.
Yeah, Harrison Ford went on to become like the most and it was mainly he did Star Wars, and then he did a couple
Jones
films,
and Blade Runner,
and
all
and he had these series of like huge hits where it was like, I think of Carrie Fisher as like. Tom Hanks' wife in The Burbs. Like that's where after Star Wars.
When Harry Met Sally.
Yeah,
I mean, she was an author in her own right.
Yeah, and she was also a writer. Like she wrote
she was in Blues Brothers.
Huge number of films. Yeah.
And
then screenplays and television shows.
Yeah, Jake's ex-wife in Blues Brothers blowing up everything, taking flamethrowers to him.
Yeah.
No, I mean, she's great.
Mark
she
Hamill's
did her
a
own
voice
thing.
actor. He kind of went on to do
the Joker. But in terms of A-list actor just carrying movie after movie after movie as like a star, that absolutely was Harrison Ford.
And is that because the audience resonated more with his his like crazy character in the Star Wars films, or is it because
who's your favorite character in the Star Wars movies?
I think he had
for me.
Who is your favorite? I'm curious because I feel like I know who yours is.
Well, a little bit. Like I would say for me, Han Solo could easily be the answer. Then I'll look and I'm like, obviously I really like Obi-Wan.
You'll never guess who mine is.
Yoda.
No.
Oh. If you say Bubba Fett, I'm gonna slap you across
It's
your
Grand Moff
face.
Tarkin.
No, whatever, dude. I mean, Peter Cushing's great, but come on.
Dude, Peter Cushing played Sherlock Holmes and all these like 1960s films.
Yeah,
it's amazing.
But what I'm saying is, like, you look at that, Han Solo is kind of a Star Wars favorite. I mean, I love Yoda. I loved Obi-Wan. Darth Vader's great. All of that, but I really, without Han Solo, it loses a lot of the spirit of the Star Wars movies. A lot of the fun. The fun is gone.
You lose a major part in Star Wars.
And fuck these people who are like, Bubba Fett's my favorite character. I'm like,
Bubba Fett's
slap yourself in the face.
He's not even
people
a character.
He
could be like a robot.
Cut the shit with this Bubba Fett. I like Bubba Fett. He's totally fine, but he's barely in anything ever. I mean, Attack of the Clones. Fine, whatever, Jango Fett, blah, blah, blah. He was in 20 seconds of Return of the Jedi, and people wanted to talk about it
my
forever.
nephew called me.
He's a fucking Rocketeer. What are we talking about?
My nephew called me, and he was telling me that he knows what the character's name is. I don't even remember, but the character who played Brienne from
the guy
Game of Thrones, who plays the stormtrooper, the silver stormtrooper that's like Phasma, yeah.
Gwendolyn Christie.
Yeah. And my nephew was like, yeah, she's the new Boba Fett, like blah, blah, blah. And I'm like,
I read about that. It's like,
What does that even mean?
People
like,
are making
who
that
cares
up.
about Boba
Yeah.
Fett? Like, yeah, great. He delivered Han Solo to Jabba. Like, who cares?
He had a
Like,
rocket pack on. That's it.
Yeah, like he had the rocket.
Yeah.
Like he
People
doesn't do
blew
anything
that
cool.
shit up beyond what it was. Let's be honest here.
It's
and
so-
then they made a whole story. Attack of the Clones had a whole thing about his father and everything like that, and all those clones, which was fine.
So
that
I
was
thought they
interesting.
were.
That was interesting,
So
but
that's
that
what
was
I
thing.
thought they were going to
Doesn't
do.
go
They were
beyond
going to take
interesting.
that and they're going to make
Yeah.
something out of Boba Fett, but they never did.
Never did.
They
They were talking about solo films
I was
for him.
expecting. Yeah, they were talking about solo film. I was expecting his story to be fleshed out a little
I
bit
feel
more,
like
but
it wouldn't
wasn't.
do well. I feel like there's this minority
I
of
think if
Star
you do
Wars
it right,
fans
it would
that
be
love
well.
Boba Fett.
And I believe some people drank the Kool-Aid because they heard so many people like the Boba Fett character. I'm like, he's fine. But let's be honest, he's in 20
not a
seconds.
real- I mean-
he's not a guy.
he's a MacGuffin.
He gets
He's
killed like
a filler.
immediately. He does absolutely nothing.
And
He's
Return of the
incompetent.
Jedi.
He's like the Rocketeer, the first fucking flight.
Whoa.
No, what I'm
Don't
trying to
be
say.
throwing Rocketeer under the bus, my
What did I say?
friend.
No, I said on his first flight. Like, he didn't have control of his rocket. He didn't know what the fuck it was like to do exactly.
Yeah, but he got it
Yeah.
together pretty quick.
I'm just saying.
All right. Don't even make the comparison.
Okay, so here's the
I know, I
disagreement.
love
I don't think
Rocketeer, too.
Boba Fett is that bad of a character. Like
No,
you
he's
guys- he's.
fine.
I think if they did a.
I just
I
never
understand that he had a
understood
short
the love.
scene and he
I just
died.
never
I
understood
get
the
it.
love.
Yeah, people
I
blew it
understand
up.
the love. He's a freaking bounty hunter, and because he is that, there's a lot of love for that. That's like a very
But he doesn't
interesting.
do much.
Not in the
The
films.
idea is beyond
Yeah,
what
no.
they're
Maybe in the,
The
lore,
idea-
maybe
Oh.
outside the film.
I feel like it started before
That's
that,
the whole
though.
thing. Is it's
Started before
the,
that.
It
what
may
the
have.
character could be.
Yeah.
That's the whole.
I know,
love
and that's
behind
what I'm
it.
saying. They,
Yeah.
they fall in love with
That's
the
what I'm
idea
saying.
of it as
Not
opposed
what
to what's
you're
been
saying.
shown on screen, is
Yeah.
all I'm saying.
In screen, yeah, he didn't have.
But
much,
anyways,
yeah,
that's a
no.
little bit off the subject. What I'm saying is take Han Solo out of the Star Wars films. What do you have? You have a less adventurous, less fun film.
But then
Any
you
of the
take
films.
Indiana Jones out of a film, you don't even have a film at all.
Exactly. Well, that's why we're
That's
saying. I mean,
what-
yeah, but I'm just saying, like Han Solo. When people go, oh, he's just not, he's a two-dimensional character. I don't really love that character very much. I'm like, I don't feel like that's true. If you love Star Wars, you love Han Solo. I mean, yes, there's a lot. I'm not saying he holds everything together, but if you take him out, there's a big missing element.
There is a huge.
Huge.
Now
He's
imagine
a center
Tom
supporting
Selleck.
character.
Imagine Tom Selleck played Han Solo.
I can't.
I mean,
imagine.
just put that character, put that actor in that role in all the films that have Han Solo, and just like look at that.
I'll be honest, that could be awesome. Tom Selleck was kind of the shit back then.
I think I
It'd be a completely different film. It's weird
It would
because
be.
for some reason I think
We're
because
theorizing.
Harrison Ford became so popular in Hollywood and he did all these other successful films and these other successful characters, I look back and I'm like, when I watch Star Wars, I don't see a film that was made in 1977. I see a film that's like frozen in time, that feels timeless to
Right.
me.
Yeah.
And it's because of the success, I think, of the film itself, of
Yeah.
the the iconicness of that film and the music and the story. But it's like there's a lot of films that were made in the 70s that I watch, and I'm like, man, this film feels dated.
Right.
But Star Wars doesn't. I don't know why. And I wonder if it has to do something with the popularity of Harrison Ford, where I continue to see him throughout my life, film after film
Well, he was
after
the best
film.
guy for that. He was the best guy
Do you-
for that part, and he did well.
Actually, do you know who some of the people, let's just cover it real quick. You know who some of the people were that tested for Han Solo?
No.
Okay. One, Robert Englund. Freddy Krueger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually tested for Han Solo.
I love it.
That didn't go. And then he also said Tom Selleck was tested for Han Solo. They tried to do that. Kurt Russell.
Yeah.
This is before the thing and everything like this. He was a young Kurt Russell. That actually could have been.
That
that
would've been
interesting
good.
because he even had.
He would have
that
been
kind
great.
Of,
Kurt
would've
Russell
been.
has that kind of like charismatic
Jack Burton.
energy.
Jack Burton in Big Trouble in Little China.
Yep.
Yeah.
Very Han Solo-ish.
Yep.
Yeah.
Different, but he's Kurt Russell, but it's very Han Solo-ish.
I could easily see him like being an amazing
Yeah.
Han Solo. Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Christopher Walken was actually one of the guys.
That would have been
tested.
interesting.
Luke,
You can look up.
I
there's
don't
actually
think that we should take the ship and go that way because I don't like it.
It would have
How
been
about this? How about this? I love you.
surreal.
I know.
I know. Yeah.
Woohoo.
Oh.
Anyways,
That's good and everything, but
Wahoo. Chewy.
Chewy, listen.
Chewy.
Hey.
Tell Jabba. Anyway, yeah. That could have been interesting.
It would have been. It would have. I don't know.
Yeah.
He was like more of an energetic actor back in that time period, so it may have been different.
No,
He was.
He
This-
doesn't-
we're talking about that 78. He came out with
Yeah.
Deer Hunter, so it was Deer Hunter time
Yeah.
period.
Yeah,
Yeah, but
he
he,
had
he
more
didn't
energy
have
back
the Kurt
then.
Russell
Yeah.
and what
He did.
But there's
Harrison Ford.
actually, go on YouTube, there's actually an audition, or I guess they were screen testing them. I don't think they were just strictly auditions. They may have been, but I think they were seriously looking
Yeah.
at these guys. You can look up, there's a video of Kurt Russell as Han Solo, like reading for Han Solo.
Wow.
A young Kurt Russell we're talking about, and we're talking about close to 10 years before.
Well, they probably
Big Trouble.
I mean, I'm sure there was like financial reasons why they hired certain actors. I don't know. The film was like, it wasn't like a huge budget film. I think they had like a $10 million budget or something.
Yeah.
What's amazing that they were able to do everything they did on that budget.
Yeah.
With all the breakthroughs and
Who else?
special effects and all that stuff.
Nick Nolte, he tried to get cast. Like he auditioned for it. Nick Nolte.
I don't
Han
know if
Solo.
he would work.
Yeah. This is one I've heard before too. Sylvester Stallone. Because you realize this is with the Rocky time period.
Sly.
He just done Rocky, but he was still kind
Italian
of trying
stallion.
to. But I think this was before Rocky hit. He was actually testing for it.
Luke, where did Luke go?
I don't even know what lines Harrison Ford says in like the first film that are iconic. Like other than like Wahoo or whatever he says at the end when he shows up randomly out of nowhere.
Yeah, I don't know.
And this is one I'd heard before too. Al Pacino. He was pretty big at this point because he'd done The Godfather Part 2. But what
God, has Al
happened
Pacino
was,
been in a science fiction film?
No.
Ever?
I answered that too quickly.
Ooh.
I don't know if he ever has. By the way, they did want him for Superman in the original Superman movie. He was on that,
Christ.
and this wouldn't have worked. He's also like 5'2". But what I was going to say is,
he's a character
They
actor,
wanted him for
like-
Han Solo. They actually sent him the script, and he said he just didn't understand it. He's like, "What is this shit?" Like he just didn't understand.
What the fuck is this shit?
But like that's like Hollywood executives just be like, this guy's hot, put him in the role. We don't care if it makes sense.
Yeah.
Let's go. It's like Nicolas Cage playing Superman. It's
Scarface
like, this guy's an
as Han
up-and-comer,
Solo.
Right.
throw him into role.
Now, James.
Scarface as Han
right.
Solo.
I know it's like.
Okay,
I love Al Pacino, but Al Pacino is like an actor for a certain style.
Exactly,
of
that's
film,
true.
certain
James
genre.
Caan, another Godfather one, was actually they wanted him.
Really? They went through all these people.
You know
I
what
guess
he
they
said?
were all like
Oh,
hungry
so he did
artists
do
at
it.
the time.
He did Simone.
Oh yeah, that's right.
did-
Is that sci-fi? I guess it's technically
That is sci-fi.
sci-fi-ish.
It's like
It's not
very
very
light
spacey. It's not
sci-fi,
spacey. It's
very
sci-fi.
light.
It's
Well,
not
it's not
spacey.
space.
It's not spacey,
Yeah,
but yes,
yeah.
it
But
is.
it's sci-fi.
Not
By the way,
space opera.
James Caan turned it down, and he said, or I guess they didn't give it to him or whatever. He said they didn't want an actor. That's why they got Harrison Ford. James Caan throwing shade. He said that on the Howard Stern show.
He would have been good though. I think he would have been good.
Yeah.
I've seen him in a couple of films. I love him in Rollerball.
Yeah,
He's
yeah,
a- he's
yeah,
a-
good in
he's
that.
a- he's
I
a
like
good-
James
he's a good
Caan.
actor.
He was
mean-
great as Sonny Corleone. I loved
Yeah.
him in Godfather. But apparently, here's just rattle off some other ones that were looked at, or either auditioned, they were looked at, they were offered the role, whatever. Chevy Chase, Bill Murray.
You know what's interesting about Harrison Ford? He is a very likable.
Those are the last two. Chevy Chase and Bill Murray were also.
I don't
looked
think they
at.
were.
Are you serious?
Yeah, apparently.
Jesus.
Apparently.
Chevy
Go
Chase,
ahead.
no.
It's funny, like this whole argument. Originally, the thing was like, who's better,
Yeah.
Indiana Jones or Harrison or Han Solo, and now it's coming down to like, is Harrison Ford a good actor?
I think he
Like,
is.
Well,
He's a
he
great actor,
is.
yeah.
He is a good actor, but he's always come off like when you see him in interviews and stuff like that. Like he does acting because he kind of like fell into it, and
He'd rather be
needed
a
to make
carpenter
money.
and a pilot, is what he
Yeah,
said.
he has like his like interest in acting is like secondary to all the other interests
Yeah.
he has in life.
Yeah.
And
He
and
doesn't
I
take
think
it very seriously.
yeah, and I think that's why he's a likable actor, and I think that's why he's like when you see him on screen, there's something about him that you like because he's not all that. He's not like 100% invested, and you
That
can
doesn't
see
sound
that.
good at all.
I know it doesn't sound good, but like he's like to him it's all like pretend,
doesn't take
which
it
it
too
is.
serious.
Yeah,
Yeah,
some
I get
people
it.
like
Yeah.
you can like when you see them perform, like they become
Yeah.
that person, and it like sticks with them for months after they finish making the film, and they're like still in that character, and they're stuck in
Method
that
acting.
Yeah, that
I'm
person.
gonna do drugs so I
Right.
can understand.
Well,
the
that's
role.
what makes it light
Yeah.
too. That's why Han Solo is such a
I feel
fun
like Harrison
character.
Ford would
Indiana
never
Jones is
lose weight
fun.
for a film or gain weight for a film or like he's like what?
He'd get
Nah.
in shape though. He'd get in shape. He'd have to.
Oh, yeah, I mean
If
he's
he has to
getting in
do
shape
physical
'cause
shit.
in life, He's like I want to be in good
His
shape.
knees
in
are
life,
going though.
You
Do
know?
you see him running in Blade Runner 2049? His knees are giving him hell.
He's
you
like
can tell.
70 years
Yeah.
old, man.
Dude, no, he's old. He's like mid 70s, I think now, isn't he?
It's no.
He was in his 30s in 1977. That was 40 years ago, dude.
Oh shit, maybe he is.
Yeah, no, I think he's like 75, 76, maybe.
something like that. Yeah.
Something like
Yeah.
that. But anyways, but that is you're right. That is actually probably part of the reason why he's so likable as a Indiana Jones. Like he's so light. He's not going so deep that you feel like, oh, this is heavy.
Well, like some actors, when you watch them on camera, like if you've watched enough film, there's a point I think as a viewer where you can be like, that actor is trying and that actor is not trying.
Yeah.
Like that actor, one actor's comfortable, the other one's uncomfortable
Right.
in that performance. And when
wouldn't
you
get
watch
that
Star
from-
Wars, like you definitely get, you can get that sometimes, like from some of the characters that they're trying a little bit harder than they should.
Yeah.
And Harrison Ford never feels like he's
That's right, but I'll tell you something.
They
I'll
give him
venture
the
to
line,
say,
and then he's just like, all right, what's my line? Okay, and then he says it, and then that's that, and it's just he's being himself.
and there's skill in that. If you think about it, how many
There
guys
is.
have
It's
tried
not
to
an
play these
unskillful
wahoo cowboy kind of adventurous characters, and it's not infectious?
That's what I'm
You
saying.
don't feel
like-
it. You're like, okay, you're
But
trying to do that.
That's why he doesn't have that much range, because I think he's just being himself.
Yeah.
But pretending to be someone else.
Right.
But you know what I mean? Like he's still being himself in that, like he takes Indiana Jones and he makes Indiana Jones himself.
Yeah.
But in that universe.
Yeah, it's hard to separate out Harrison Ford from those roles. That's why when you hear like names like Tom Selleck being in Indiana Jones,
I think people just like Harrison Ford as a person.
I think so, or the way he acts at least, because I don't know him in person. But yes,
Well, I
we
can see
interviews, you
Kurt
get that
Russell.
idea.
I can see Kurt Russell.
Yeah, but is Indiana Jones? I don't know. I feel like
I'm sorry. I was saying Han Solo.
I agree. That's what I'm saying. I think more people could play Han Solo than could play Indiana Jones, and I think that might be the difference. Like, because Indiana Jones, like you said, he has to carry that film all the way through on his own back. Whereas you can't be covered up by other people, or you have more scenes, you have more dialogue, you have more. It's all riding on your personality. Those movies are named after him. The first one wasn't. First one was just Raiders of the Lost Ark. He became such a popular character. All the later ones had Indiana Jones and because he was so popular. Even young Indiana Jones, which was good, never captured what Harrison Ford was able to capture in that role.
I have to watch him again. I remember watching him as a kid. Yeah, River Phoenix played Indiana Jones.
That was Last Crusade.
Oh, right.
The
It wasn't
show.
River Phoenix. It was the guy who played Powder. What's that actor's name?
Sean Flattery.
Sean Patrick Flannery.
Flannery, yeah.
So the argument here is there a comparison to? I mean, to me, there's no comparison. Like I'm gonna say, like I said, I think because
they're
if you
both
take
flat characters.
No. If you take Han Solo,
Did you say
out
black
of,
characters?
No, he said flat.
Oh, flat.
If you take,
They're not really fleshed out characters.
Well, no, but here's the thing.
Indiana Jones
Listen,
is
hold
more
on a
fleshed
second.
out,
Hold
I
on.
would say.
So if you take Han Solo out of Star Wars, there still is a Star Wars, but it wouldn't be as good.
Right.
If you take Indiana Jones out of Indiana Jones,
Harrison Ford.
there's no film at all.
That's right. Or replace it with a different character. I don't think it plays as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's just it doesn't.
Yeah.
The comparison, the versus doesn't make sense to me. And
Right.
That is why it doesn't make
Put
sense.
Kurt Russell
It
in the
took me all of podcast to figure this out.
Yes.
And I have figured it out.
Okay, put Kurt Russell in the cockpit in the Millennium Falcon, and you have still a pretty decent movie.
Correct.
Put somebody else in that fedora, give him that whip. I'm not sure it's as good.
No.
I'm not sure. I don't know.
I can see
Love
Kurt
Tom
Russell.
Selleck, but
yeah.
does he? I don't know. Does he play it like that? The thing about the charm of Indiana Jones is what you were saying. It's that kind of.
Well, they both have charm.
Yes, they
That's
both
the thing
do.
that makes them, I think, both appealing characters. Is that there's that humor and then that ability to like get out of sticky situations, and that's what they both do. They both end up in it.
I love the smirks in the middle of the chaos. Like I love that. Indiana Jones especially.
I'm trying
has
to argue for Han
I
Solo,
know.
which and I don't think that it's like a black and white thing where like Indiana Jones is like infinitely better than Han Solo as a character, but I personally like Indiana Jones as a character, more because I think I like the time period.
I like
That
the movies.
1930s.
I like the movies. Yeah.
You know, the World War II and
I just love the
Last
story of a
Crusade.
professor who goes off on these crazy adventures and nobody knows.
Well, I mean, they're real people like
Yeah,
that.
but
Like,
it's still,
more of a
I think
real
it's just
thing.
two
It's more
things that shouldn't
grounded.
be compared.
There
I'm
are.
not sure that that's grounded. That movie. Come on.
Well, I don't know about the time
Come
period,
on.
but there are people that are like college professors that go on archaeological digs and expeditions and things like that. I don't know if they're dealing in the black market.
I think the archaeological digs are a lot more
Dude, we would
boring
never
than we're
know.
thinking about.
There's real Indiana.
there's-
We would never know if there were real Indiana
I want to
Joneses out there,
know.
right? How would
I
it
want
be
to
on
see a
TV?
guy being chased by
All
1,000 natives with spears.
It would be like some guy writing his autobiography, and we find out after he was dead that he was basically Indiana Jones.
God,
in
I want
real life.
You know what? We need to find out. There's got to be a
There
guy.
are guys out there. I'm telling you, that
Let's
do
go.
these crazy expeditions. and
So the upshot of the whole thing is Indiana Jones is a better character, even if it's by a slight margin. But it's mainly also because he has to hold that entire movie series
he's
on
still
his
alive.
back. Yes, he's got to
Spoiler.
carry that whole
What's
series
your
on
saying
his
this,
back.
Neil? I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Is a
No, I get his saying.
Is he gonna keep talking? Or is
Yes,
he-
I am.
All right, he's got.
Zigga.
He's got to carry the whole series on his back, and that is a harder task.
Yeah.
And he does it, and he had to step up more. Whereas as part of an ensemble, he could play off the other guys. This one, he had to fully step up. And this was 4 years after the first one, 1 year after the second Star Wars movie. And I feel like maybe he had more. He had dealt with those big blockbuster kind of things more. He kind of was able to come into his own completely in that film. Yeah. And it shows. I think as characters, they're both kind of have their moral ambiguity.
But look at it this way. Would we have the Harrison Ford as we know him? Because the Harrison Ford in the original 1977 Star Wars is a lot different as a character than in Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi. True. Mainly, and I think a lot of it had to do with the popularity of Harrison Ford. He had done, in between those two films, he had done Blade Runner. He did, Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Are you talking about
Empire
and Return of the Jedi? Yeah.
And, are you talking about in age?
No, and Star Wars.
No.
Star Wars
Empire
was
came out in
77.
80. Yeah, and Empire came out in 80.
Oh, so
Raiders
Empire
came out in 81. Blade Runner was
82. Okay.
No, he did. Yeah, he did Raiders and Blade Runner between Empire and Return of the Jedi.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Are you talking about as an
fucking
age?
string of movies that were just amazing. If you just put all those
killing
together,
it. Yeah.
Star Wars, Empire Strikes Back, Raiders, Blade Runner, and Return. Jesus Christ, that kind of.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're talking about age, I mean, I think if you think of Han Solo in this last film that he was in, last Star Wars that he was in, he just seemed destroyed.
Yeah, it was a deeper version of Han Solo. I do agree.
I think you get more of. I think it was basically.
Here's a guy who actually took a lot of wrong turns.
It was a one incredible tone for like he played a one incredible tone on the older Star Wars.
Yeah,
which was a fun, energetic, cocky.
Well,
smuggler.
it was weird
but
going
this
into that
one,
film because Harrison Ford in interviews had always said that he wants Han Solo
I'm not
killed
even
off
bringing
as
that
an
into,
actor.
Yeah,
but that tainted, I think, my view and a lot of viewers.
Yeah, but I'm not even bringing
film.
that into it. I'm just talking about as character and the storyline of what he went through the storyline behind the character.
Right.
Yeah.
And when you watch the last film that he was in, which which was Force Awakens, he was destroyed, and it was a totally different Han Solo than we've ever seen before.
Right.
Which was very interesting, and we've never seen him like that. So, still, I think. To me, like, I understand if you're going to compare them, Indiana Jones just destroys the hell out of Han Solo to me because it's just, he carries the whole film.
Right.
I agree. I totally agree. But to me, it's not, I can't compare the two because it's just like two things that shouldn't be compared to.
Right. And now we're going to see if, the trailer for the new Han Solo film just dropped.
Yeah.
The movie that's coming out in May. So we're going to see if somebody else could play Han Solo and it's still a great character, or if it's just Harrison Ford that made that character great.
Well, now but now this is like Solo, a Star Wars story.
Yeah.
Like, so this is like complete 2 hours of based on the one character. Whereas
which
if
we
you
haven't
take
seen.
every scene he's in all 3 or 4 films, it probably is less than 2 hours worth of content. To be honest,
yeah,
with
that's
you.
true.
Yeah, but then Indiana Jones, 4 films, he's in almost every scene.
I know it's a hard comparison, but I mean I like the character of Indiana Jones better. I like that that's a more appealing character to me than Han Solo.
I agree.
Well, through the battles, through the scars, and through all the hurting, Indiana Jones won.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, we said he won in the beginning.
Yeah, we did. We were clear. We were clear.
There's no reveal or clap.
This was a versus, not.
I know. I wanted to
versus.
discover if he was better or not. I wanted to find out if Han Solo was better, and I don't know that he is, but I did find out some things about Indiana Jones.
Yeah, this is more a clarification why he is better.
Maybe when this Solo film comes out, we'll like him as it'll
we'll come back
flesh
and talk
out his
about it.
character and explain why he is the way he is in the Star Wars
true
film.
verses behind Han Solo and Indiana Jones.
I want to see if this guy can pull off Han Solo. Yeah. That's all.
So then it'll be about the character, not Harrison Ford. So, all right, everyone, thank you for joining us at Get to the Podcast. That's Get to the Podcast with the number 2. I'm Diego D'Souza.
I'm Nick Gambino.
And I'm Neil Carson.
Pichu, Pichu, Pichu.
Laugh it up, Buzzball.
Laugh it up, Buzzball. I know. Wait, what's that Indiana Jones line?
I hate Nazis.
I hate snakes.
Oh, yeah.
He hated a lot of things, didn't he?
No, just snakes.
No, it's snakes, yeah. He could literally be, he was okay with everything else.
Yep.
You're still here? It's over. Go home. Go.